Hey folks, today we are building my ultimate Marshall JCM 800 patch using the Axe FX III. So stay with us. I have a little wish list when it comes to the Marshall JCM 800 ultimate patch, my dream patch. First of all, below the 12th fret, I want it to be good for rhythm. I want it to have decent chugging abilities, and I also want it to have good note separation so that when I play a chord, you hear all those notes. And also, you know, a fair amount of distortion, but not too much below the 12th fret. As we get above the 12th fret, I want my effects to start kicking in, and some more drive, more reverb, more delay, more phaser, that kind of stuff. So I want this to be a good all-arounder kind of patch. Okay, so starting out here, we just have an empty preset. I have an input block, and all I've done is I've increased my threshold to -40 to get rid of a little bit of guitar noise, and my output block, I've reduced my output level to -8 dB because this thing, as we start adding stuff to it, is going to get a bit louder. So here's what it sounds like as is. Just the direct guitar sound. All right, first things first, let's get an amp block going here. So for my amp, I'm just going with the Brit 800, the regular old JCM 800. What most people think of when they think of rock and roll, this is the tone that they have in their mind. So this is the amp we're going with. I want that sort of just classic sound. And now let's add a cab block. And for this, I'm going with the, well, we'll just leave it at the default for now. We'll do these things in order. So for amp, Brit 800. For my basic tone controls here, the only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my master volume all the way up to 10. And what this is gonna do is, it's gonna really help with the feel of how this thing plays as you're soloing. That's another thing that I'm particular about, is I want this to be easy to play. And the way that you get that is with cranking that master volume up. This is true in real life too, by the way, is you want to stay away from your preamp drive and focus more on your power tube distortion if you want this thing to really flow and be easier to play, easier, have better pick attack and better feel above the 12th fret. All right, if we go down here to our speaker tab, I'm gonna make a few adjustments here. My low frequency resonance, I'm gonna set that at 6. I'm gonna boost that up a little bit, and I'm gonna just try to beef up the low end here slightly. And then my low frequency Q stands for quality. The higher the Q number, the lower your bandwidth. I'm gonna set my low frequency Q to 0.75. So I'm really gonna widen this frequency band here. I'm looking for low end warmth. Speaker compression, I like this at 0. So I'm setting my speaker compression at 0. And then let's move down to our input EQ. So for input EQ, I'm gonna change my high cut from 20,000 to 2,000. And what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want to get rid of some of that scratchiness that you can get above the 12th fret. And that'll make it easier for me, at least, to execute certain soloing things if that scratchiness is not there. Okay, now we're going to head down to our dynamics. And for my output compression, I'm going to set that to gain enhancer. which is a lovely feature. And it's basically going to act like a little bit of a boost here. So gain enhancer for out comp type. And then for my output compression setting, I'm going to set that to 4. If you go over the top with this one, it'll sound a little messy. So you want to be careful on that. Okay, finally, I'm going to go back to my tone controls here for my drive. I want to set that to use the pitch follower so that it increases as I go above the 12th fret. So there's another video on this that I put out a week or 2 ago that explains how to do this, but let's go over it again real quick. So my drive is set at 5. I'm going to right click on it. My source is going to be pitch follower, and for my range, my minimum, I want it to be at 5. So I want it to be, we'll get it right around 5. And then for my maximum, I'm going to leave it at 10. So that as I get above the 12th fret, my drive is going to go from 5 all the way up to 10 for those searing, soaring solos. Okay, so far this is what we got. Sounds a little thin, not so great yet. We're getting there. All right, let's move over to the cab section. So I'm going to use my 2 favorite cabs here. So for my first cab, I am going with a Legacy 125. And this is the 412 5153 mix number 2, and I'm going to pan that sucker all the way to the left. And then for another cab here, I'm going with my other favorite cab, which is Legacy 45. And that's the 4x12 Solo V12 RW, and I'm going to pan that one all the way to the right. Okay, so now we sound like this. Just a little bit more metal happening. Next, let's go to the room/air tab. And in here, I'm gonna stick my room level up to 30%. And then I'm gonna put my air, I'm gonna push that up to 20. This is gonna bring out the highest of the highs. Give it a little bit more sizzle, a little more brightness. And then the other thing I'm gonna do here is my room diffusion. I'm gonna set that to 50, and this is really gonna increase that ambience. So now we have this. Next, we're gonna go ahead and add our reverb block. I'm gonna go with Sun Plate, and I'm gonna increase my stereo spread all the way to 200% on this one. And then for my mix, again, I want this to engage as I get above the 12th fret into those higher frequencies. So I'm gonna right click on that. I'm gonna use the pitch follower, and I'm gonna set my range on this from 0 to 30. And then for dampening, under release, I don't want this to cut off too fast. So I want it to stop reacting at about 1,000 here. And you can type in 1,000, it'll say 999.9, whatever. And we'll close that. So now below the 12th fret down here, as you get above the 12th fret, we're gonna get that nice, lovely reverb kicking in. Okay, delay. I'm gonna put my delay before my reverb here. So we'll select the delay block. And here I'm just gonna go with stereo tape. And again, I want my delay to only react, or mostly react, when I get above the 12th fret. So I'm gonna go over here to my mix and do sort of a similar thing. I'm gonna select pitch follower. I'm gonna go from 0 to about 20, which is quite a bit of delay. And for my release, I'm switching that to 1,000 here. Okay, so let's see what that does. Okay, not bad. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the enhancer block here just before my output to get a little bit more of a stereo spread. So I'm going to put enhancer 1 in there. I'm going to leave it on modern, and for width, I'm going all the way to 100%. Let's not mess around here. Finally, I am going to go with a Whammy here. I have an expression pedal on the floor here next to me, and I'm going to throw in a Whammy so we can do some nice dive bombs without having to mess with a Floyd Rose. So we're going to go to our pitch, put in a pitch block here, set it to classic Whammy, and we're going to go 2 octaves down. And then for our control here, we're going to select pedal number 1. Now for this, I like to swap my parameter range. So that means that when my heel is down, it's at the low frequencies. And then when my toe's down, that sends me up to where I should be, my sort of home base. Now, the other thing I like to do with this is adjust the offset and the scale. So I'm going to set my offset here to 23. And then I'm going to set my scale to 1.192. And what that's going to do is make it so that if I'm not super accurate with my pedal here, as long as I get up to about here, I'm going to be at my standard tuning, right? So it's a little more forgiving if you are in the moment and you don't happen to get your toe all the way down, you'll still be up at your standard pitch there. So that's the reasoning behind that. All right, last but not least, I'm going to throw in my favorite effect, which is a classic phaser. So I'm going to stick that right here before my amp. We'll say phaser, and we're going to go with classic vibe. And we're going to make sure that this thing is only kicking in when we hit those higher frequencies. So I'm going to go over here to mix, right click on it, select my pitch follower, and set my parameter range 0 to about 60. All right, so here it is. We have decent note separation there. We have decent chugging without too much effects happening on it. Well, I think that's it for today. The link to the patch we made will be down below if you want to check it out and download it and play through it for yourself. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell. You know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.